Happy Valentine's Day, or close to Valentine's Day. I know this title of the video seemed half-assed backwards, but wait until you hear the story. I know that passport brothers are single men going overseas to get a good woman. But this video is about a love story, a true love story. You know, boy meets girl, they fall in love, get married, she becomes successful, and she dumps them. Snow White, Sleeping Beauty, Cinderella, all of those are European love stories. We are talking about an American love story, which is boy meets girl, he falls in love, not they, he. They get married, he becomes successful, she divorces boy and takes all his money. This story is a little bit different. The man you see is Michael, and he is from Canada, and now he lives in the Philippines. The girl is named Bianca. She was born and raised in Canada. Her father is white and her mother is from the Philippines. I will put a link to the original video and their YouTube channel in the description. While living in Canada, they were both poor. They were living in a studio apartment and all that stuff. They got married in Canada. In Canada, they both are poor, but their incomes will allow them to be middle class in the Philippines. So they made plans to move to the Philippines, where Bianca would be able to get Philippine citizenship. Her being a Philippine citizen will allow them to purchase property, a house, land, a small farm. I will let him tell his story. I'm just making sure you do not miss the important points. The important point that in Canada, she would probably be a 6 in looks. Not an 8 or above, but a 6. Like Kevin Samuels would say, you cannot use a 7, so she would be a 6 at the most. However, because she is half white, she is considered a 10 in the Philippines. And because of this, she is getting modeling jobs and other employment. This has allowed her to become financially independent and maintain her middle-class lifestyle without Michael's support. Middle-class lifestyle she never had in Canada, at least not without Michael. So while in the Philippines, she asked Michael for a divorce so she can go and pursue her dreams. However, what she did not consider is that she is westernized. This means that no Asian man is going to want her for marriage. Plus, if she could not deal with Michael's expectations, then there's no way she can deal with an Asian man's expectations when it comes to marriage. This means unless she leaves the Philippines or Asia, she will never be in another serious relationship, she will never again be married, and she will never have kids. If she leaves the Philippines and go back to Canada, then she will be poor. When she was living in Canada, if she could afford a nice place of her own, then she would not have moved into Michael's studio apartment. Plus, she is still only a 6 in looks, and she is getting older. We all know that for women, the wall comes when they are not looking. It comes quick and it hits them hard. So going back to Canada is not a good option. Basically, leaving Michael means that she will never get married and never have children. However, Michael is a single white man with no children with a middle-class income living in the Philippines. Plus, he is kind of young. This means that he might have to leave the Philippines because there will be so many women chasing him that there will be no place where he can hide. For Philippine women, Michael is beyond gold. He is a mystical unicorn you only read in fairy tales. However, most Philippine women will wait a little before pursuing him. They want to make sure that his ex-wife, Bianca, is completely out of the picture. No one wants to deal with that type of drama. Plus, they will wait because Philippines women cannot believe that any woman can be so stupid to leave a good man for some dumbass shit. That's what she did. They cannot believe that anyone can be that stupid. One more thing, for all the single men, I put a video at the end. A video that shows the perfect woman for us all. Plus, she has very reasonable expectations. Here are the video clips.
And yes, it's true, as many of you realize, that we're no longer together. Truth be told, we're still very, very good friends. Very, very good friends. Get along every single day without any problems. So Bianca and I started dating prior to the pandemic, but not long before the pandemic. And I was moving into a new condo and everything, so we'd already been dating, things were going well. And I invited her to live with me because she lived in a pretty darn far city. It was like a 2-hour drive to go visit her every time. I worked long hours. It just made more sense to just say, come and live in here. And, you know, everything went great. And we grew very, very close, spending that much time together. Well, the lockdown came. And we had a very small studio condo. And first part of the lockdown, I don't remember how long that was, 6 months, something like that. You weren't allowed to go out of your house except for one person could go to the do grocery shopping, that kind of thing. You weren't even allowed to go for walks, at least for the first part of it. And during that time, we spent a lot of time together because it's a studio. There's no separate bedroom where you can hide from each other or anything. And we got along perfectly well. Everything seemed to align with us perfectly well. And so when we finally decided, you know what, done with the Western world, done with materialistic sort of things, we're going to go and move to the Philippines because she was half Filipino. We could get citizenship there. Otherwise, it would have been like South America, where I had spent many years just taking vacations there, just escaping, saving all my money just to take vacations in the South because I really honestly hate winter. But Philippines made more sense for the fact that she could get, citizenship and everything. And so we made a plan, 1 year we're going to move. We're going to sell everything. We're going to plan everything. We're going to give my notice at work, everything, save as much as we possibly can, pay off all our debts, and move to the Philippines. As soon as they allowed weddings again, which, keep in mind, we were married outdoors in the winter with only one witness allowed each, and that was it. You weren't allowed to have family, nothing. And so as soon as they allowed that, we was like, okay, we signed up for it and we got married right away. Obviously for legal reasons too, it would be very important long term with her getting citizenship and stuff like that. But like I said, we just spent a ridiculous amount of time locked in the same room and really, really got along very well and felt like everything was aligned. And we came to the Philippines super excited. And so we went to Boracay and eventually found a place to live, and things went really well. We continued to thrive really well as a couple in Boracay, and everything, went really good. I can't complain. We had a great time. But then after 8 months of being on that island with no city and just the limitations of living on an island like that, we decided that we needed to move, and we found Iloilo by accident, as you all probably already know, and fell in love with this city. It was an amazing city with everything we could possibly ask for. Our long-term planning for the longest time now that I can remember was that when her mother retires, her mother wanted a small little farm. We kind of wanted that sort of life. We wanted to be near a city that we can get all the things we need but could go in and out quite easily, and we could have a plot of land where one corner her mother could have her little farm. When I say a farm, I mean one of a few different animals, so she just has something to do. Loves animals, but not a real farm, not a commercial farm or anything, but somewhere where she can relax and just enjoy her life. And then we would have something similar on the same property. That was kind of our aligned goals for the longest time. But then once we came to Iloilo, those opportunities that open up from being in Iloilo really kind of started to change our dynamic, to be very honest. We just started to diverge in different directions. And we began to see our goals and dreams and hopes and that kind of thing a little differently. And that meant we were slowly starting to diverge away from each other into different directions. Now, keep in mind, it's not a bad thing to realize that you have the potential to do more out of life. Have your distant dreams that you thought were unattainable all of a sudden become possible when you never even, you always discounted it as, but that will never happen, that sort of thing. And, that's where things began to fall apart. It's just two people that started to grow apart from each other. It doesn't happen quickly, so you don't notice it at first, but you just eventually diverge and your paths end up in two different directions, and you're not pulling for the exact same things anymore. That she already had started to build up. She already has a Facebook, she already has Instagram, she has a Twitch channel, she has another YouTube for gaming, all under that Bianca type thing. She's active doing JCI, modeling, cosplay. We've never registered our marriage here in the Philippines. We're still under the tourist visa. She's getting her visa next month, or this month, it's January already. She's going to be going for her dual citizenship, that kind of thing. So she can just file as separated then and not have to worry about putting in the marriage certificate. So there's no worries about that. It's all under Canadian law. We were married in Canada. Essentially, Canadian law is 1 year separated. After that, you can just apply for a divorce online. Yes, it's that easy. Apparently, I did not know that until I recently was told by somebody else and looked it up. Sure enough, you can apply online now. When you don't have any kids or anything between you, it's no big deal. As you know, Bianca has been doing a cosplay and modeling, and now she does JCI International.
What's your name?
My name's Courtney.
And where are you from?
I'm from England.
And why did you first come to Korea?
So I was here as an English teacher initially. And then I ended up meeting my husband.
How is it like being married to a Korean as a foreigner?
But it definitely had its kind of ups and downs, like a lot of cultural differences. And the way like we would do things often resulted in like a lot of arguments.
And what cultural differences were there?
It was mostly just about like the way we would speak to each other. I love to like banter and kind of roast people, and he sometimes found it disrespectful. We were together for 4 years, married for 3 years, and like we just recently started the process of getting a divorce.
And would you date or marry a Korean guy again?
Probably not. The only time that I think I would is if they were like gyopo, like if they were from like if they've been brought up in like Western country.
This woman is not Michael's ex-wife Bianca, but she'll give you a good idea of Bianca's future. It's just another woman who divorced a good man over some dumb shit. Her husband moved on and got remarried, and now her ex-husband has a new wife and is about to have a baby. And yes, it does seem like Bianca is trying to keep Michael around as her security blanket. Bianca wants the security of Michael, but she does not want Michael himself. And if things does not work out, she wants the option to be able to run back to Michael. I've seen this hundreds of times. Eventually, Michael is going to get sick of her games and leave for good. What might happen is that Michael will take a trip to another country, just a short little trip, and the next thing he knows is that he has been married and with kids for the last 10 years. There's a YouTuber that got married and has a little farm with his Thai wife in Thailand. He has everything Michael wants. He was able to do this within 2 years of moving to Thailand.
I'm sitting here with just this horrible realization. I have spent most of my days figuring out how I can become physically, mentally, financially, spiritually healthy enough to be able to afford and take care of a child. And not only have I taken that time, but I've done the math, and it does not work out. At 36, like, I'm sorry, like, you're gonna say, like, you have time, like, I don't. Because I can't spend another minute of my life trying to make something work when I'm just fighting upstream. I don't have a support system. I don't have the money. I don't have the resources or the community.
Next, 56. She is definitely a BBW. I'm sorry, I mispronounced that. She's definitely a BMW. She's big. She's a larger lady. She says, friendly, creative person looking for marriage with the right person. I'm also looking for a generous man who will spoil me and also teach me investing skills. I have been single and independent all these years, so it's time for a change. Love traveling, staying in beautiful hotels, plus singing, cooking, and gardening. And she's 56, and she is a big, beautiful woman. The entitlement, fellas.